Okay, ready? Okay. Facebook. Yeah.
And the Hive is live and up now?
Yeah, it's live and up, yeah.
It's not a big. You can also turn down the fan speed because that's something that makes a noise as a fan. Maybe you can turn down the fan speed because that's what makes a noise. There you go.
Ready to go? Good morning, good evening, wherever you're joining us, or wherever you are in the world. My name is Melarka Williams, CEO of Ingenuity Technologies, and my co-host for today is going to be Ms. Diane Edwards, President of JAMPRO. I want to thank everybody for joining us wherever you are in the world. I also want to thank our sponsors and partners, Flow Foundation, Gustavus, JAMPRO, Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association. So I want to talk about the Hive. I want to start off by talking to you about the Hive. Then we'll actually show you a demo of the Hive, and then after we have actually shared you a demo of the Hive, we'll talk about, you know, why is it so important for us to be, for the Caribbean to be more digital, and why we think that this is an initiative that's actually going to gear us in this direction. So the Hive essentially connects businesses of all sizes with freelancers and digital agencies from not only across the world, but also from across the Caribbean. So the idea is that if you have a temporary project that you'd like to work on, you'd be able to go on the Hive. Then once you go on the Hive, you'd essentially be able to post these projects. Then you'll have the top freelance agencies from across the Caribbean that will essentially go on this platform, bid for this project, and then once they have actually bid for this project, the employer actually has an opportunity to select the best bid. Now, what is really cool about the platform is that the freelancers and the agencies are actually rated, and the employers themselves are rated, right? And you're also able to see very, very critical statistics on the performance of these freelancers, agencies, and you're also able to see critical statistics about the employers themselves. Now, the idea for the Hive, it has been around for about a year now, but we really decided that we were going to fast track this in April of this year, because one of the things that we saw happening is March 2020 was when the world really started closing down, or Jamaica actually started closing down, and I realized that the major industries that actually employ persons right across the Caribbean was actually going to be impacted. So we're talking about tourism, we're talking about remittance. These are the industries that actually drives and actually power our economy. So I realized that a lot of persons were actually going to be losing their jobs. Now, if persons actually lose their jobs because they're actually laid off because of what's actually happening, people aren't going to be able to provide for themselves and their family, which was kind of something that really knocked us hard. So we really started thinking about, well, how can we actually fast track this so that we can not necessarily replace tourism and remittance as the main driver for economic growth for the Caribbean, but add a new dimension to it, add a new industry, which would be the Hive, the freelancing platform that doesn't require anything at all. The only thing that you require is internet connection, a computer, and your existing skills. Whether you're a developer, you're an engineer, you're an attorney, you're an accountant, you're a data entry clerk, or you're a customer service representative, you can essentially go online, create that profile, and then once you've actually created that profile, you can bid on those projects. And once you have actually bid on those projects, you have an opportunity to earn, which I think is actually really crucial and what we're actually trying to do. So thank you for joining us. And what we're actually going to do now is that we're actually going to show you a demo of the Hive and how the Hive actually works. So where
first name, last name, email address.
All right, so give us maybe another 2 seconds, and you'll actually see the demo of the Hive running.
Username.
All right, so it's running now? Oh, it is finished. Okay. All right. So that's essentially a demo of the Hive. So Cable and Wireless Business is actually the title sponsor, and they're actually powering the internet connection here today. Really crucial partner to us. All right. So Diane, so I'm just going to jump in the conversation with you. You and I have actually been talking about. You and I have had conversations about the space for a while now. We have spoken about, just how can we actually develop the economy? How can we have more digital companies in the Caribbean? And, just the importance of us moving on higher up in the value chain. That's certainly something that we have spoken about a lot. Now, I just wanted to start off by talking to you about, why do you actually think that's important for us to move the Caribbean high up in the value chain?
Well, thanks a lot, Malaka. And first of all, let me say hello to your listeners and our audience far and wide. It's really a good day for us to be talking about this right in the middle of the COVID pandemic that we are still experiencing and hopefully not experiencing a second wave, but regretfully looking that way. I think, you know, as Malarka said, we've been in this conversation for a long time. JAMPRO, from where we sit, we want to congratulate Malarka and Ingenuity for taking this step towards really developing that hive, that community of freelance workers. We at JAMPRO have been very instrumental in building up the BPO industry, as you know, and really now turning our attention and focus to how do we develop the higher value skills that are available in the Caribbean. In Jamaica, we have 17,000 people, students, who are out there with skills. We have another, I have heard numbers of up to 40,000 people who are actually doing work online. But nobody is putting all those people together in one place to say, here are the skill sets that are available in the Caribbean, and you as an employer in the metropolitan market, wherever you are, you can take advantage of those skill sets in the Caribbean. One of the issues that we have as an agency is that we don't have enough data. We can't show people how many people we have with skills in the different sectors. So I think the Caribbean is really well placed to climb that value chain, to show the number of lawyers, accountants, nurses, healthcare, you know, all sorts of different professions, and incorporate those people into the gig economy, which we know is growing rapidly across the world. So people can work for a Fortune 500 company, I like to say, but sit in the Caribbean. You can be in St. Vincent or Anguilla and do your thing, you know, and get paid online. You don't have to move. So all the migration that we're seeing out of the region now, we no longer have to do that because white-collar employment is coming more and more online. And I just want to, if you indulge me,
sure.
I just want to just make one quote from a guy called John Fraser of Forbes magazine. In the not too far off future, we'll see an economy that has rebuilt itself on hundreds of millions of small businesses rather than hundreds of millions of 9-to-5 jobs. Then the gig economy will just be the economy.
Yeah, whoa, that's an amazing.
Really great.
And you know, as we talk about, you know, just you said something really important, which is we're no longer no longer required to migrate. I mean, I certainly grew up in an era where in the 1980s, probably I was about 6 years old, and what I saw was mass migration of my family members. So I lost a lot of my family members. And you know, the explanation that was given, everybody essentially, they were going to England, they were going to New York, or they were going to Canada. The explanation that was given to me was, we really have to do this, and because we really want to improve our life. Yeah, we really are, you know. Mm-hmm. So I think that, you know, certainly if people realize that they can do these jobs here from Jamaica, you know, with our sun, stand and sea, then more persons will actually stay here, and they will actually help to build our economy. So crucial, very, very, very crucial. Now, one of the things I want to talk about is just the change in dynamics of the workplace, right? Remote working, certainly how people want to work right now, it's totally different. People want to work from anytime. People want to work anytime, anywhere. I mean, you want to roll out of their bed, they want to go to the gym, they want to work in their joggers. You know, they want to work across a multitude of industries, and certainly industry that we're in, IT and engineering, and we find that our engineers, today they want to be working on a social impact problem, tomorrow they want to be working on a fintech problem or a problem within the financial service sector. Next week they might actually want to work on something in manufacturing, you know. So people want people want a variety of experience for them to indulge in. What are you seeing, you know, in terms of the new mode of working now?
Well, I think it's becoming so much more widespread because I think this COVID period has shown us how much we can actually do at home and online. it has also revealed the vulnerabilities of the system, that's for sure. So we know that we need greater broadband penetration, we need more reliable broadband. But it has shown us that actually a high percentage of the services we deliver can be done online. So if you look at the outsourcing industry in Jamaica, 40% of the employees are now working from home.
Amazing, that's amazing.
So that's a sea change, and we are now working on making those work from home provisions permanent, because that's critical to our competitiveness as a region. We're also, from where JAMPRO sits, for instance, we now have 1 week in office, 1 week out of office. That's how most people are operating, apart from those who have comorbidities who are exempt from that system. But what it has meant is that people love the flexibility.
Yeah.
Because you can stay home and do yoga online at 5 o'clock instead of sitting for an hour in traffic. So what it has also meant is that a lot of us are actually working harder, because the meetings are now back to back. You're Zooming all day, or you're Skyping all day, or you're on Teams all day. So I think that is changing the ethos of working, and just making the whole work-life balance more interesting, and also enhancing, as you said, the job content, because you can be working on different projects and for different sets of people, whether for the non-profit sector, for government, for private enterprise. You can go across the verticals, you can go across horizontal types of work. So I think it's a real opportunity for us as a region. And the other thing is it promotes collaboration, because I think the collaboration online is much easier than if you're trying to collaborate on a phone.
That's true.
You know? And most of these platforms, actually, Microsoft Teams, for instance, they're developed to promote teamwork. So the opportunity of being able to share documents, and have discussions, I think this is a huge change for the Caribbean. We just have to get the broadband penetration.
Yeah, and one of the things that's important, for this platform certainly is, I think that for us to really grow as a country, for the Caribbean to actually grow, people who have idea, if you have a really brilliant idea, whether you think that your idea is the next Facebook, your idea is the next Google, you don't necessarily have to know how to code. There must be a platform out there, which is the Hive, that you can go on and you can say, okay, I have a $2,500 budget, I have a $5,000 budget, I'm going to post this project online. I'm going to post some money from one of my investment accounts. I'm going to post this project online, and you can have that project delivered, executed for you, right? I think that's really important. And as many of these projects that we have that's actually been executed at some point, there's going to be a real connection, and we're going to build something really big. The other thing is that certainly, with more persons actually working from home, that's actually good. That's actually a good thing. And how does that really trickle down to maybe the average man? Just so that people can understand. One of the things that we use a lot of US dollars to buy is actually oil. And that certainly goes into transportation, and that certainly affects our exchange rate. So certainly, with more persons actually staying from home, working from home, that's actually a step in the right direction, because we don't have to spend so much on transportation anymore, and I think that's really good for us.
I think it will ease the traffic congestion. And that is huge, because if you look at the productivity in Jamaica, the productivity levels are in decline, which is shocking. But if you look at the amount of time people spend commuting, if you live in Portmore, you could be spending 2 hours a day commuting back and forth to Kingston. Why are you doing that? So I think the opportunity really is there. And I think for the man in the street, here's where I think it's really exciting. We're engaged with the Ministry of Science, Energy and Technology in a new economy task force. And what we're looking at is, how do you digitize small businesses, MSMEs? And this is where I think the Hive has a real opportunity to play, to leverage, because small businesses actually can gain huge efficiency from going online and going digital, but they don't know how to do it. That's one. And they don't know who to ask. So, okay, I want my website developed. I can go on the Hive and I can say, okay, there are these 10 web developers. This one has 5 stars, this one has 3 stars. Okay, I'll interview 3 of them and I'll select. And that's where the opportunity lies for small businesses to help them go digital. We're actually working on a package for incentivizing small businesses to go digital, to use digital tools to enhance their product offering, their service offering. You know how we had to pivot in this COVID period with farmers. Farmers had gluts of produce. How could we get those farmers who used to sell to hotels to get to urban markets of consumption? So we had farmers markets, and one of the innovations was the cashless farmers market.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I saw that. That was amazing. Yeah, yeah.
So it's showing farmers that you too can use digital tools to enhance what you're doing.
Yeah,
you know? So I think it's just a brilliant time and a brilliant opportunity.
And I mean, we're certainly we want our small to medium-sized enterprises to be more productive. We want them to be more efficient, and going digital is the best way for them to do that. That's certainly going to help them to control their costs, reduce their operational costs, because if they can employ temporary talent instead of permanent talent, they're not going to have that monthly overheads that they're actually paying. And then, these companies, we want them to export more also. And for us to compete, certainly for us to compete globally, the companies across the Caribbean, they have to be, we have to be more efficient, we have to be more productive, and having that best-in-class technology in their companies, that is actually something that's certainly going to help them to do that. And this marketplace is going to be one big marketplace where they can find all of that.
And the e-commerce and the payment systems, I think, are 2 aspects of competitiveness. If we really want to go forward, that's really where we're going to have to go.
Okay, great. All right, so we're going to break for about a minute, and we're going to show you a demo, the second demo of the Hive, of how the Hive actually works.
My name is Melarco Williams, founder and CEO of The Hive. The Hive connects businesses of all sizes with freelancers and agencies so that they can get their projects done. Well, now I'm going to go and show you a demo of The Hive. Once you go on the website, there are 2 options for you. You can hire a freelancer or you can apply as a freelancer. Now let us suppose you're an employer. You'll click on the option that says hire freelancer. As you can see, it's very easy for you to sign up. You'll add your name, first name, last name, email address. Username. Well, you have to agree to the terms and conditions, and then you hit sign up. Those simple, very easy steps, and now you're signed up as an employer, and you can actually start posting your projects. Alright, let's suppose you're a freelancer and you'd like to get signed up on the site. You'd actually visit the site, you select the option that says apply as freelancer, enter your first name, your email, username, your password, and you confirm your password. You agree to the terms of service and policy. Hit the option that says sign up. So it's actually that easy for you to sign up as a freelancer, and then once you have signed up, you can actually start bidding on your projects.
All right, so all right, welcome back. All right, so welcome back. Now, one of the things that I want to talk about is certainly, that the fact that JAMPRO has been spearheading, the push for us to move up higher in the value chain. JAMPRO currently has, the GSS program, and I think that the GSS program that JAMPRO has, a lot of the data that's going to be generated from the Hive is actually going to be very useful to what JAMPRO is doing with that program. So can you tell us a little bit about what JAMPRO is doing with the GSS program, what it's about, and what's the idea around it and what you're looking to accomplish with that?
Sure, that's a great question. Love that question. The Global Services Sector Project is an IDB funded project which we evolved because we wanted to look at how do we move up from doing mainly customer service in the BPO, and how do we connect the tech sector in Jamaica, which is doing much higher value operations and applications. They're doing app development, they're doing software development, they're doing SaaS, software as a service, they're doing geospatial. So how do we bring this whole thing together in one ecosystem? So the GSS program is really developed to help us upskill our talent pool. So if we really want to move into the digital age, we have to take a whole generation of skill sets, move them up the value chain. And so we need to help our people become more digitally aware and digitally skilled. So that's what the program is focused on, upskilling people. And so we have, within that program, we have a digital services sector strategy, which we are developing, which will be national and which will look at how we take Jamaica into the aftermath of the fourth industrial revolution, which is really digital. So how do we build the digital skills? We're working with HEART on a number of programs. So the career pathway, the industry upgrade strategy, and that will help HEART to incorporate better digital curriculum into their programs. And then we want to also bring this to the high school level. So that's one part of the program. The second part of the program is really to help companies to upskill their workforces. So we actually have a competitive fund which will co-finance programs either on a short-term basis or a longer-term basis to help their teams and their employees to upskill. So we're actually financing the training programs, which is really, really important, so that we can, at the end of this 5-year project, we should hopefully have trained over 4,000 apprentices, over 1,000 trained the trainers, and we should really have a digital curriculum that is implemented, and I would really love to see it implemented in all the high schools.
Yeah.
So let's see if we can get there. We're on the way there, but let's see if we can actually get there.
And I mean, a lot of times, sometimes persons say, well, boy, the government is behind, or the government wasn't thinking about this. But I would say, JAMPRO is doing an amazing job. The government has done an amazing job. We're thinking about this and rolling out the implementation of this. And after persons have actually received their training, after persons who's going to be asking, okay, what's next for me? They can go on and register themselves on the Hive.
Exactly.
And they can start looking for digital opportunities on the Hive. They can start bidding on projects so that they can actually provide for themselves and their family. And
One other thing I'd like to remind the audience that the government has also agreed that 15% of government sourcing and government contracts must go to MSMEs. And many of those MSMEs are digital companies which can provide these kinds of services. So we also have to be more aggressive in going after government contracts, because government is the biggest employer of IT services that there is. So I keep saying that we need to link more with government. And I think the Hive is so complementary to the Global Services Sector program, because the Hive is going to give people coming through the program that opportunity to link back into government contracts, to link back into global contracts anywhere, and to link with other firms who are doing contracts. So it's really a virtuous circle.
Yeah, and I mean, so sometimes people will say, boy, I just don't know where the opportunities are. I don't know where to find the opportunities. I don't have any links.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, right now, the platform, the idea is that you won't necessarily need links. The idea is that all the opportunities are going to be on the platform. You're going to be able to go on the platform. You're going to be able to find those opportunities. And you're also going to be able to build your reputation as a freelancer, your reputation as an agency, because the employers themselves are going to be able to rate you, 1 star, 2 star, or 5 star. And you can build your reputation from there, which I think is really crucial.
And one last thing I want to say is to directly to the audience, all those people who are doing their freelance work in their pajamas at home, please get on the site and register, because one experience we had, which for me was personally disappointing, we had a global company come to Jamaica and they wanted to hire data analysts. And we could not prove to them, because we did not have enough people on LinkedIn to be able, and they were adamant that LinkedIn is their way of recruiting. They're not listening to anything we said at Jamaicans are not on LinkedIn. So they said, no, you can't demonstrate to us that you have enough people in data analytics, so we can't pass you we can't give you a passing grade as a good location for this kind of work. So we failed that. And that really, really upset me, because I felt that we have the people, but we just can't demonstrate it because y'all are in your bedrooms. So please get on the Hive.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Dan. Really, really important. And the other thing is that the other thing that we want freelancers and agencies to understand in terms of these international companies. These international companies, from time to time, if they're looking for companies to do the business within Jamaica, they'll literally call into a JAMPRO and they'll say, okay, JAMPRO, you have companies, you have technology companies, you have marketing companies, you have accountants.
Absolutely.
What's really in the market, right? So these companies are very, very actively looking at this marketplace, and the idea is that the Hive is going to be that marketplace that they can go on and find these potential companies that they can actually work with. And if we look at what's happening globally, a lot of companies that are within North America, they're predominantly, a lot of times they have looked at other markets. They might have looked at Asia, they might have looked at Eastern Europe, but some of these companies, a lot of these companies have started to look for what they call a nearshore destination, a market that's on their time zone, has a similar cultural affinity to them. Right, all of these different characteristics. So they have started looking more and more at the Caribbean as a place where they can actually outsource different project-based activities to, or they can even potentially set up an operation in Jamaica. So it's something that's happening now. We want the viewers to understand it's nothing that's far-fetched. It's very, very, very actively happening right now. So we definitely want persons to actually go on and sign up. All right, so one of the last things that we want to talk about is the ecosystem, the Caribbean digital ecosystem. It's very important to understand that for us to really be successful at this thing, no one company, whether you're a private company or you're a government-run organization, can actually do this. It's actually very important that we build an ecosystem. I've actually started seeing different components of that ecosystem coming together. We have global conferences. VCs are actually being created that's actually investing in companies. Startup companies, all of that is actually moving in the right direction. Talk to us a little bit about what you're seeing specifically in the Caribbean digital ecosystem. Where it's at now, where do you see it going?
A lot of exciting things are happening, let me tell you. One is, for instance, that we are now, I think, even at the CARICOM level, talking about the underpinnings of a digital economy. And what does that mean? As I said, in the new economy team, we are talking a lot about broadband penetration. How do you get people onto broadband, and that is a conversation across the Caribbean. We are members of the Caribbean Association of IPAs, Investment Promotion Agencies, and digital promotion is part of our work plan. So in two ways. One is leveraging digital to promote the Caribbean, and I just got them to agree that they're going to do a whole rollout of a digital communications plan to promote the Caribbean as an investment location. But in addition to that, to promote the digital opportunities across the Caribbean. So animation is one of them. Yes. And there's a whole animation operation on the campus at St. Augustine in Trinidad. And there's a real opportunity there for them to bring in work for animators and outsource that work into the rest of the Caribbean, because I was on a webinar with a Trinidadian guy whose name escapes me right now, forgive me, but he was saying that he doesn't have enough people to do the work in Trinidad. I said, Guy, what are you doing? Why are you calling the Jamaican animators? You know, so there's a lot of that going on. But in addition, what we want to do is, I think there are some things that the government needs to do. I'm talking to them about making computers cheaper. It's a simple, silly thing, but in my opinion, you need to reduce the cost of computers, because if you want there to be a digital explosion, you really have to look at incentivizing. Okay, so there are some things that the government needs to do. Digital signatures, really critical, and that is something that we see already. The legislation is there to give effect to it. We're talking about BOJ having a sandbox. Barbados is way ahead in terms of the whole sandbox. Well, it's a play area, if you want to call it, but a regulatory play area, so that we can test regulation. Things like digital switches, things like interoperability, things like there is a whole policy agenda that needs to take place. I spoke about online payment systems. That is critical. People cannot be expected to still work with Payoneer and PayPal and these things, because you have to have a US account to be able to access those systems. So we have to create a local and regional online payment system, and that is in discussion through the central banks. And then the whole question of e-commerce. We have to make e-commerce more accessible, cheaper for SMEs to be able to get online and sell their products online. So building up the ecosystem is really a big agenda, but this is an agenda that now we see government starting to embrace. So watch this space and keep on pushing, because this is the other thing that I keep saying. Don't wait for government to move. You got to push government. I know I'm government to push us.
You know what? I'm a really big component of doing something. Launching a product, launching an idea, implementing something, and then just forcing the regulations to keep up with you. Yeah. And I think we need to actually do more of that. Don't rely on the government. I think that we live. The Caribbean is just such an interesting place. And it's just an exciting place, because we live in a region where anything that you want to do, there's nobody that's actually preventing you from doing it. If you have an idea, right? If you have an idea of something that you want to build, there's nobody that's preventing you from actually doing that and executing on that idea. Mm-hmm. And we shouldn't take that for granted. That's actually a really, really big thing, and we should capitalize on that. Mm-hmm. And certainly the other thing is that as Caribbean people, we're really, really friendly. So anybody that you need to reach to execute on anything, they're probably about maybe 1, 2, or 3 degrees of separation.
On the planet. My thing is on the planet. We are 1 degree of separation from anybody we want to reach. Yeah. Because there's a Jamaican or a Caribbean person in every walk of life, everywhere, in positions of serious responsibility. Yeah. We can reach anyone we want.
Literally,
on the planet.
There's just so many different mediums for us to reach out to them.
Exactly.
And I think one of the things that we want is, there's a saying that goes, certainly for Jamaica, there are more Jamaicans living abroad than actually
but it's true.
Who actually live in Jamaica, and a lot of Caribbean nationals are abroad. And a lot of them are wondering, like, how can I contribute? Even if they want to come back, they might not necessarily want to come back. How can I contribute? What can I actually do?
You soon have one in the White House.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Do I dare say that?
Yeah, we're hoping for that, and we're really hoping for that we're actually going to have, Camila in the White House. So, just letting you know that, our official sponsor, Cayman Wireless Business, you're really crucial partner to us in helping us to power what's actually happening here today. And in terms of moving the Caribbean high up in the value chain, having this freelance platform that persons can actually go on, look for different project-based opportunities, and just get work done so they can actually provide for themselves and for their family. We do understand that a lot of persons have actually lost their jobs.
Yeah.
I was reading an article last night, and I think initially when COVID actually, about 75% of persons who were in the tourism sector actually lost their jobs. Persons were actually laid off. A lot of these people are looking for opportunities, and they can actually find these opportunities online. And one of the things I want to just touch on a little bit is skill mapping. Like, if you think about the tourism sector, persons within the tourism sector just have certain basic skills that will make them really, really good people to actually embrace digital. One thing I would say is that they have really good customer service skills.
Absolutely.
And that can be translated to them, working on a digital platform like the Hive. And the other thing I probably dare say is that they're really funny, right? You go to the hotel and they can just keep you laughing.
Yeah.
So all of these different sectors that are really impacted, I think that these sectors can actually, we can actually migrate some of these persons within the tourism sector and the sectors to the digital and sign up on the platform, going on the platform and getting some opportunities.
Well, this is one of the reasons that the whole BPO industry took off in Montego Bay before it took off in Kingston, because those skills were very much transferable. One of the things that the BPO operators say to us is, the Jamaicans don't need accent neutralization, because our accent is understandable by Brits, by Canadians, by Americans. It's not a problem. But we can also say no in such a charming manner. Yeah. So sometimes you have to deal with tough customers who are mad, vexed, irate on the phone. Yeah. And we have a way of dealing with them. And the other thing we do is we take initiative. And that's all of those skills are critical, transferable skills. So I think for people who are listening and who, as you said, have been laid off or furloughed from the tourism sector, think about what you can do online, because there are a ton of things you can do online that can make money. So let's be as simple as recipes. People have turned so much to home cooking now, because you're at home. What the hell do you do? After you finish working, maybe you don't want to do takeout. Maybe you just want to try that recipe. So friends of mine have a group, for instance. We share, 50 people share one recipe each with everyone. I mean, as I'm saying, it sounds silly, but from these things, that's how you grow a business. Exactly. So that's what people need to be thinking about, because the tourism jobs, let's face it, they're going to take between a year and 2 years to come back. It's tough, and I'm not trying to depress people, but it's just the reality that we have to face. And so we need to pivot. This is the period of pivot.
Yeah, I mean,
and the opportunities are there.
Yeah, this is the time to actually pivot. This is the time to actually learn some new skills. This is the time for you to actually leverage the existing skills that you have, to gain, to look for some additional opportunities and gain some employment. Right. So I don't want persons to be too despair. There are a lot of opportunities out there, and a lot of times we just don't know where these opportunities are.
Exactly.
Certainly for us as a company. When I look at, we always need to get something done, right? And the conventional way, sometimes we'll reach out, we'll call a few persons, hey, anybody that can do this, anybody that can do that, for example. And it's just not the most effective way. So the idea is that we ourselves as companies across the Caribbean, there are other things that we need to get done, right? And the idea is the Hive is that effective way for persons to actually, post whatever project, post whatever idea they have on the platform, and you can have different persons signing up for the platform, signing up and actually responding and executing on all of those opportunities.
And I'm going to go back to what I was saying about collaboration, because I think it's something we need to get better at doing in the Caribbean, because collaboration means really marrying your skill set with my skill set. So my first degree is in languages. I have 3 languages. So maybe somebody wants translation, but maybe I'm not the greatest person at coding, and I want some coding done. So that's where the 2 of us could collaborate, on a language. I know translation is now very possible through Google, but trust me, it's bad translation. Some of it is embarrassing. So there are things that we can do by pooling our skills, and that's one of the critical things that I think the Hive is going to facilitate. And the other thing is generating that data that I was talking about earlier, that we need to develop much more data on the skill sets that we have in the Caribbean. And if we can do that, that becomes an element of what we can sell to the global market. The Caribbean is 70% services. It's a service economy. So we're not suddenly going to all get into manufacturing. It's not going to happen. We need to be selling our services online more and more. That's our competitive advantage.
And I mean, you touched on an important point, manufacturing. And one of the things that we're seeing certainly over the last quarter is the manufacturing industry was one of the few industries to actually grow during this COVID. So in terms of the manufacturing industry, I think right now in terms of the contribution to GDP, it's probably about 7%. And global, we're seeing that in terms of global in terms of contribution, in terms of what manufacturing can contribute to the GDP, it's about 2 times that. I think that at least 2 times that. So there are a lot of opportunities within the manufacturing sector. Now I think that manufacturing companies and the JMEA is actually a partner. The manufacturing industry certainly across the Caribbean, they're going to need a lot of innovation, they're going to need a lot of technology.
Absolutely.
And they themselves can actually come on this platform and look for freelancers, look for agencies that's actually going to automate the operation.
New product development is one of our areas of weakness across the Caribbean. Every time someone comes to me and says they're a food processor, I say, please don't show me another jerk sauce. We need to expand what we're doing. We need to be more creative with the raw materials that nature has given us. We have, 50 fruits. What are we doing with them? You have mangoes falling all over the place in mango season. Why aren't we drying these mangoes? Why aren't we canning these mangoes? Why aren't we making mango-based sauces, purees, seasonings, all kinds of things? The Koreans eat green mango. Green mango is a delicacy in Asia. So there are many ways to consume the products that we only consume one way. But it's really opening our minds to innovation and to the different ways that you can use what we have. And so that can go into manufacturing, that can go into food processing, that can go into home operations, because right now what do consumers want in the international market? They want something that's new, different, authentic, fresh, produced by someone who's getting a fair trade opportunity, so fair salary for what they're doing. So all of these attributes we should be capitalizing on.
Yeah, and I'd certainly say, if you can export to a market that is just willing to pay more for that same exact service or for that same exact product they're actually producing here, that's always a very good thing, and that's something that you should try. And it's one of the reasons why we're pushing so much for export. It's not only the exportation of services, but also the exportation of goods. I think it was probably about, I don't know if it's this year or last year, I actually saw that they were selling patties at Super Bowl, and I think it was probably about $17, right? I think that's amazing. All the patty sell for in Jamaica, probably about $1.50. $1.50.
Yeah, exactly.
$1.50.
But Grace just said that their patties and sausages have been their biggest sellers in the COVID period.
Yeah.
And Pen Relays last year, we were negotiating to get patties into the stadium.
Yeah, amazing. So essentially, we have to start looking abroad. We have to start looking outside of our comfort zone, outside of our market. And the idea is that the Hive is actually supposed to be this platform that's just going to allow us to collaborate. Collaborate not only in Jamaica, collaborate with other Caribbean islands. And just extend beyond that for us to actually collaborate globally.
Yeah.
It's going to allow us to build new partnership. We're going to find investors. We're going to find people who you're going to be able to start a company with. There are just so much things that you're going to be able to do with this very exciting ecosystem that we're actually looking forward to building. Right? And we just want persons to log on, sign up for the Hive. Sign up an account if you're a freelancer or an agency, or if you're an employer that you have various opportunities that you need to execute on, you can actually post these opportunities as projects on the platform, and persons can actually bid on them. Alright, so we're actually going to move to just closing remarks now, and then I'll just ask you to give your closing remarks.
Sure. It's been a real pleasure, Malaka. Thanks so much for inviting me. I've really enjoyed our conversation, but we have many conversations, so this is a part of the continuum. I just want to say that to the audience, whoever is listening, thanks for listening. It's been, I think, an enriching conversation. I think the Caribbean is really in a new era, in an era of digitization that I think is going to be a huge competitive opportunity for all of us. I think the Hive can be really at the center of that. I know you're going to get a lot of competition for who's going to be the queen bee, but I think that the Hive is a concept whose time has come, and we really need to get those people who are doing all this online work, as I was saying, in bedrooms, in pajamas, to come out of the shadows and get on board and get online and get onto the Hive, because I think this is really the future of the Caribbean, the future of work. The US says that the gig economy employees or freelancers rather are going to move from 34% of the employment cohort to 43% in the next year. So the opportunities are endless, and so I would really say to my Caribbean brethren and sistren, just embrace that and get online, get on the Hive, and you'll see new vistas open for you. So thanks all for listening.
Yeah, thank you. And wherever you are in the world, if you have project opportunities, please post those project opportunities on the Hive, so that you can have Caribbean people working on those specific opportunities. So thank you so much for joining us. Thank the sponsors, and of course I have to do
elbow bump,
right?
Yeah, because I have to put that back to mass.
Thank you the sponsors, CNW Foundation, CNW Business, JAMPRO, Gustavo's, Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association, for coming on board and helping us to power this. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Are we off now? I think.
That they can get their projects done. Well, now I'm going to go and show you a demo of the Hive. Once you go on the website, there are two options for you. You can hire a freelancer, or you can apply as a freelancer. Now let us suppose you're an employer. You'll click on the option that says hire freelancer. As you can see, it's very easy for you to sign up. You'll add your name, first name, last name, email address. Username, Well, you have to agree to the terms and conditions and then you hit sign up. Those simple, very easy steps, and now you're signed up as an employer and you can actually start posting your projects. Alright, let's suppose you're a freelancer and you'd like to get signed up on the site. You'd actually visit the site, you select the option that says apply as freelancer, enter your first name, your email, your username, your password, and you confirm your password. You agree to the terms of service and policy. Hit the option that says sign up. So it's actually that easy for you to sign up as a freelancer, and then once you have signed up, you can actually start bidding on your projects.